so we have enough people, so we'll do a call to order here. We have to do a roll call because we got people on Zoom. So I'll start off here. Richard Smith, present.
Sean Sullivan, present.
Kat Pullman, present.
We got you, Kat, and then Andrea
Andrea Bennett, present.
and PJ.
PJ present.
Awesome. All right. Item number 1, approval of the May minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the May minutes? Second, any opposed? Oh, no, we have to do a roll call vote. Okay, we have to vote to approve the May minutes. So we have to do a roll call vote. Richard Smith, aye.
Sean Sullivan, aye.
Kat Pullman, aye.
Andrea Bennett, aye.
PJ Klein, aye.
All right, May minutes are approved. Then we'll move to item number 2, general updates, and I'll pass that over to Dave.
Yeah, welcome.
And just so everyone knows that I got to drop at 1:30. I'm traveling today, so I think I sent out an email.
Yeah.
So make sure that they you've got to vote on.
This could perhaps be a quick meeting then, because we need you in order to have the quorum. So we'll try. I guess we'll try to get through everything by 1:30. And PJ, if you can hang on as long as possible and just let us know when you drop off, that would be great. General updates, again, just wanted to keep everyone advised of status of projects that are going on. So the first two are both in regard to LED lighting retrofit projects. And yeah, I've been busily trying to get approvals through purchasing in order to finish those up either the end of this fiscal year or within the next month or two of early next fiscal year, which our fiscal year starts July 1. So one of the projects is all of the area lighting out at the Legion Stadium parking area. I think actually have some Duke Energy staff out there today trying to finalize the number of lights that we're including on the project, but it's going to be somewhere around 80 parking area lights that are going to be retrofitted to LED. The other one is kind of assorted fire stations and park area lighting, kind of scattered throughout the city. Again, that's probably going to be about 40 or so additional lights or will be converted to LED. So both of those are, certainly supporting action item number 4 from our recommended action items of optimizing energy efficiency. So I'll keep you all up to date as those projects get started, and hopefully they go pretty quickly and implemented early in next fiscal year. Another general update is just in regard to the installation of EV charging infrastructure at city facilities. Again, one of our recommended action items. This is through the VW settlement grant where we were awarded the ability to purchase 2 EV charger installations, and those contract to go ahead and make the purchase through a company called Evo Charge was approved last week. So I know the vendor has that signed contract, so we'll be getting those ordered and delivered here to the city as soon as possible, and then we'll begin the installation process. So I know our vendor is quite busy installing stuff throughout the state as part of the VW settlement program. So hopefully they can get to us pretty quickly. But yeah, we're right now in discussion with him to get that scheduled, and don't have a firm date for the installation yet. So that's it for kind of item number 2, just some general updates. Oh, I guess I did want to also mention our new members have both received their offer letters to join the committee. I think we want to have those guys do a orientation with some of our city staff, similar to kind of the first meeting all of y'all went through when we had legal come in and just kind of go over, the history of how the committee was formed and responsibilities and kind of that whole process. So we hope to do that in I think the remainder part of June here, and hopefully be able to get the new committee's members on board for our July 1st meeting, or our first meeting in July, as part of the new fiscal year as well. And any questions about any of those from either you guys here on site, or any additional information you want about any of those projects?
Okay. We'll move to item number 3 then. Update for submittal of energy efficiency conservation strategy.
Thank you, Richard. Yeah, this is all part of the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant. As part of the submittal process, they want you to provide a strategy about how you're going to spend the money. So I think I provided all of y'all in the agenda document attachments, kind of the template that the grant wants everybody to follow, kind of the goals that, or the questions that need to be answered. So it's, I'm working my way through this document. I've got kind of a rough draft I'm currently working on. But also, as part of this, you can get some technical assistance from staff at the NREL. So I've already reached out to them and had an initial conversation, and their suggestion was go ahead and go through the template, answer as many of the questions as possible, perhaps highlight some areas that you need some additional advice or strategy development on, and go ahead and send them the initial answers to the template and schedule another meeting here in the next few weeks. So I believe we've got to have this in. It's not a huge rush, but I think part of it is deciding what we want to spend the grant money on. So for the pilot program. Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah. So we still haven't gotten the final budget, approved, that council votes on yet. So that will determine somewhat if they give us the money to do the study, or if they want us to use the grant money to do the study. So I don't think that would take all of the grant funds, which again is just 173,000 or somewhere in there. So the next step would be deciding what else do we want to spend it on. Some suggestions out there, but as we get closer, and I think we need to discuss it kind of with city leadership. Or I know Dave has got a tentative meeting scheduled with Tom Moat to discuss. So what to spend the money on. So that's a big part of it.
Share with us, like.
Absolutely. Yep. Be good to get y'all's, which way are y'all leaning as well? What do you think is the best use of the money? So we'll continue to have further discussions about the EECBG grant funds as as things develop.
Seems like a lot of people.
You know, it's pretty detailed too. Definitely, which is interesting because it's a non-competitive grant, but they still want you to kind of go through this process.
On Zoom, any questions or discussions? About item number?
Can I just make sure that I heard David correctly on the last statement? Did you say it's a non-competitive grant? And so this is essentially more like a checklist to make sure that you're covering everything?
Yeah, that's correct. We're
Okay.
we're guaranteed the funds. It's just kind of going through these steps. They do want some kind of a strategy, lined out as far as what you plan to spend the money on. They certainly want to, I think, prefer things that have a slightly larger reach than, perhaps just, putting more solar panels up on a city facility.
David, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Things that impact the greater community.
Just me?
What's that, DJ?
The mic is still pretty quiet. You kind of have to hold it like, like you're on.
I don't know
some-
why this thing is so quiet, but
That's
apologies.
much better.
Again, our technical capabilities in this room are so limited. but-
Can we write that into the PDG, budget request?
Yeah.
Grant request, so it's $20 for any mic?
Yeah. We're doing the best with what we can here. Any other questions there, guys? Comments?
Okay, let's move on to
Yeah.
item number 4 then. UNCW's thing.
Yeah, this was a project that Professor Kinzer approached me about several months ago in regard to a program for her Master of Public Administration students. And they were aware of some of the work that the task force previous to this committee had done and the recommended action items that were listed as part of the final report from the task force. And the one that stood out to them or interested them was recommended action item number 10, which encouraging backyard composting and an agriculture pilot program. So over several months, after a kind of initial meeting and discussion with myself, the students worked on this project and I included their final presentation to you guys in the agenda documents for looking at developing a kind of a citywide community gardens and composting sites. And so at the end of their class program, a couple months ago now, they made this presentation to me initially, just in regard to their findings and some potential ways that we could identify some locations for community gardens, as well as developing a more robust kind of community composting program around the city. So, I thought the students did a really great job on the project. I've already shared this with Dave Mays, and I think it's something we want to share with some additional city leadership. I know our Parks and Rec and kind of Community Services Department has worked previously on some community garden activities, but I'm not sure what kind of support or greater kind of PR they had around the effort. This could be an opportunity for us to look to kind of restart or reignite that effort and, not only, look at providing some opportunities in either on city properties or perhaps some shared properties or within communities that may already have something going and want some just additional support for doing community gardens. So I wanted to share it, just kind of their initial presentation document to you all, and actually see if you would be interested in having them come in for our next meeting, either live or via Zoom, just do a presentation to you all and about the program and what their thoughts are about it. I certainly think this is another low-hanging fruit, perhaps, or at least to show that we're getting some work done on this one action item. We really haven't talked about it a whole lot over this first year. We've really been focused on a lot of energy projects, but I think this would be a good opportunity for us to look at programs that affect the community in a little bit greater way than just looking at energy of our municipal facilities. So would love to hear y'all's initial thoughts about it and see where we want to go with it.
I think this sounds great. I would be happy to have them come in and present. I think that just inviting them to, the advisory committee shows even further engagement, and not just that, like, okay, this is done, it's kind of that continuing that relationship. I think that would be really great to have them come in. And I had a question about, like you were saying, PR and kind of putting this out there. Does the city have I feel like when we did the work on the task force, that towards the end, the city had some sort of like designated media coordinator guy that had come on and was just maybe starting in the role, and he came to a couple calls and was saying how things, like, is that still ongoing? Is that something where, like, do we already have kind of that method of communication out, or is it still kind of open for different ways of disseminating, wins like this?
Yeah, Jared Patterson is our newish now communications director. And I believe he did come on kind of at the tail end of the task force, as you were mentioning. And yeah, he's always been very supportive of kind of efforts in regard to sustainability, recycling, energy efficiency. So that's definitely very much still an avenue to either share information with Jared and the communications department, kind of on, whether it's just kind of a one-off kind of, Facebook posting or media blast, or to, the city puts out their, I think it's quarterly newsletter. And that's another area where we can focus on trying to put out news and information about what the committee here is working on. So something like this, as well as other kind of general updates that we want to share throughout the year, is that newsletter is a great opportunity to do that, or or just have Jared come in and listen to some of our ideas and see how he would like to disseminate that information.
Yeah, it looks like just in the intro of the document that you shared that it was, very notable about the enthusiasm from the community around the project. So, that just sounds like, why not highlight something really awesome that's happened as a result of this?
Yeah, I would say when when David shared this with me a couple weeks ago, I'm super excited about it. I think it's again, low-hanging fruit where a group of students has already done a good amount of the legwork for us, and it's also a easy opportunity to kind of support something beneficial for the community that, according to their estimates, has a pretty low startup cost. They said between $1,000 to $5,000. I'm sure through the different available pots of money through city operations, we can find that somewhere. Grant opportunities as well. I'm sure we can secure that amount of funding. But I think it's just a great opportunity. I mean, it seems like it's not a heavy lift. There is, again, they've shown that there is a desire in the community for this. And I think it's a beneficial thing we can do. So I'm all on board for it, and I would love to have them come in and present to us. In that case, we don't need to have a vote to request them to come in and present or for more information. I guess I would ask the group, is there any dissent or anyone that doesn't find value in additional information and pursuing this project from the committee standpoint? Okay. I don't hear any opposition. So David, I'll go ahead and ask that you see if they're willing to come in and present to us and give us a little bit more information so we can see what we can do to help make this a reality. And we had already kind of talked offline about including the other relevant city staff members, Parks and Rec, whoever else may be pertinent to bring in on the discussion.
Also good for our visibility.
Agreed, 100%. All right, well, we made it to PJ's 1:30 timeline. Is there any other comments, any other concerns, questions, follow-ups that you'd like to see next month or anything like that?
There were some items that were going to be in for the July budget approval. When will we know the status of those, whether they got approved or not?
We'll get the final FY24 approved budget here in the next few weeks, PJ. Yeah, I think the main thing we were wondering is how much, are we going to get any budget, to do like the fleet study, or if we're going to have to spend grant funds to get that done. So I think that was the main thing we were waiting to hear about as far as a budget request goes that's impacting this committee.
Okay, good.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and adjourn and, back to the day. It's a quick meeting today, but I appreciate everybody's time, and next month we should hopefully have 2 new board members that'll help fill out our quorum. I think going forward, it's just a healthy practice. If you know that you're not going to be able to attend the meeting, or you think you might not be able to attend the meeting, just give us a heads up, because we don't want to run into issues with quorums. So it's just better to know in advance. But I appreciate everyone taking the time today, and if there's anything else, be sure just to reach out to us. We can always plan, add in things for next month's meeting if you think of something. All right. So with that, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thanks for everyone's time, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Not a problem.
Well, yeah, I always try. Well,
You sure? You're
That's
like,
like
oh,
college,
social
isn't it?
interaction? I'd love to get out of the house. Yeah.
and I know last week I said I would put something together for offshore wind. I just kind of want to pick up the present. I just didn't know what
you're fine.
Like I could put like a